Namaste, I'm Brad Terrell. Welcome to this daily mobility to improve backbends class/tutorial. In this class tutorial, you're going to learn a handful of active spinal mobility drills as well as some more passive holds to eventually work up towards some deeper backbends like a wheel or scorpion or locust, so all of the really juicy type backbends. So before we get started, I'm just going to talk a little bit about when the best time to apply any backbend drills, and that would be just after working on any core work or abdominal work. And here's why. Because backbends are a spinal extension, we want to make sure that our entire front chain feels strong and active. So a lot of people think that backbends are simply just bending out behind you, but really it is a front body opener, and for us to focus on the muscles of the front body, the anterior chain, we often forget to kind of activate the abdominals when getting into deeper backbends. So we're going to start this class with just a few core drills to really just get those abdominals activated, and then we'll jump right into our backbends. So starting on our backs here, I want you to draw yourself down onto the mat in a supinated position. You can extend the legs up and just starting tucking the chin to the chest, toes back toward the face. I want you to drop your right leg to the floor. See if we can hold for 3 breaths. Tilting pelvis back. And switch. Tuck your chin to your chest. Glutes are also activated here. Beautiful, and you can draw that left leg back up. This time we'll see if we can go with both legs, and rather than just holding, we'll draw them all the way back up. If you need to, you can also bend the knees slightly, but just make sure that you don't tilt the pelvis forward. If you can, straighten the legs, keep your chin tucked. We'll go for 10, 9, 8, 7. Again, if you need to, bend the knees. 6, 5. Just make sure that the low back doesn't lift. 4, 3, 2. Last one. Beautiful. You can hug the knees here. So eventually, if you want to just continue working on this class, what you can do is just go through a full ab workout and then dive right into this sequencing. It's not necessary to really go through a full ab workout, just as long as you feel as though the abdominals are activated. So let's move toward some backbends and some spinal mobility drills. So from here, I want you to find your bridge position. So you're going to draw the arms toward, or the hands rather, towards your heels, and you're going to press your hips up toward the ceiling, and again, really try and find that maximum extension. So tuck your shoulders in, you're going to draw the hips up, and then slowly release. We'll see if we can go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. You can draw those knees in and side to side. Good. Beautiful. Now progression here, what we're going to aim for is reaching, if we can, for the heel. So really kind of tuck those heels in nice and close to the glutes, and you're going to lift the glutes as high up as you can, just like we did. If you can't reach for the heels and lift your hips up, just draw the arms down by your mat. We're going to lift, pressing up and back down. For 5, press. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Now, any backbend is really intense, or any deep back bend is intense for the whole body. So not only do we want the anterior chain activated, but we also want the posterior chain activated, including the glutes, the hamstrings. So this is why that bridge sequence is really great to practice and to continuously practice. Now we'll see if we can just simply hold that bridge position. We'll see if we can hold it for 5 full breaths. Now, if you can't, again, reach for the ankles, just go ahead and reach for the heels or bring your thumbs to meet your heels. If you can, grab onto those heels, tuck those shoulders in, and we'll hold for 5 deep breaths. 5, press the hips up higher, knees about hip distance apart, toes facing forward. 3, 2, 1 more. Beautiful. Slowly release. Good. You can cross the feet, hug the knees. Let's do rock side to side. Good. And from here we can roll over to the right. We're going to draw ourselves into a Sphinx position. Now, the real trick behind a lot of our back bends is just mastering the basics. And one of the most basic back bends that we can perform is a Sphinx posture like I am in right now. So if you just really spend more time in this position and just tap into it, and that's really what this class is about, is just tapping in with some of these movements and some of these postures daily and not really forcing anything, then you will find progress in your back bends. So from here, try and keep the elbows in directly underneath the shoulders. You're going to grip the fingertips to the floor and think of pulling your heart through your biceps as you kind of feel the quads start to slide forward. So from here, I'm pulling my heart through the biceps. The crown of the head is lifted up. And similar to our Cobra, we don't want to be finding that neck extension. Instead, we'd rather find length across the front body. So from here, I want you to draw the crown of the head as high up toward the sky, as high up toward the ceiling as you can. I'm just taking a few deep breaths here. So it's always great to work on some passive postures first before getting into some more active ones, and then vice versa. So it's always great to kind of practice the passive postures first, really kind of feel what's going on with the body, and then start to work with more active drills. And it also works nicely vice versa. So working on the active and then kind of seeing where you are passively within that posture afterwards. So again, we're just going to hold for a few more breaths here. Continue to pull your heart through. The glutes are somewhat engaged. Same with the hamstrings. Beautiful. Now let's work on some of the active mobility from our Sphinx pose. Now, the real focus, so the real area that we're aiming to kind of activate is our spinal extensor. So the muscles of the low back, and this area really helps you with not only back bends, but with pressing into a handstand. Generally, this part of your body wants to be the strongest. So if this is the strongest part of your body right here, then your spine is in great shape. And if not, then really focus on a lot of this technique from our Sphinx. So from here, what I'd like for you to focus on, heart facing forward, crown of the head lifts up. I want you to just see if you can lift your right leg and then release. See if you can go to the other side, lift, release. Good. Now continue that. If you can, work on the progression, which is right leg extends up, and simultaneously you're going to reach that left hand forward, and you should really feel your right spinal extensor activate, and then slowly release. To the other side, release. Release. If it's too much extending the arm, just lift the leg. Good. We'll see if we can go for 6 more to each side. Inhale up and release. Let's go one more to each side. Good, and you can take a moment here onto the forearms, kind of shake your hips side to side. Great, so the Sphinx pose is absolutely great to practice to improve all of your back bends, and it is also a preparatory posture for our Cobra as well as our upward facing dog. So this next drill, we're going to start again pronated on our bellies, except this time what we'll try and do is just draw the hands slightly further off the mat. So I've got kind of half my fingertips off the mat, and from here elbows are directly over the wrist, and I'm attempting not to really press down into my hands and into my fingertips. They're just really supporting my back bend. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to press my toes, my quads deep into the mat, and without really using my upper body strength, I'm going to attempt to lift myself up and then slowly release back down. We'll see if we can go again for 6 here, drawing ourselves up. Inhale and slowly release. We'll see if we can go for another one. And release. Let's go for 3 more. One last one. Beautiful. Great, now we'll see if we can do the same thing, except this time we're going to try and take the hands away altogether and just kind of ghost the feeling of pressing down. So we'll see how high we can actually come up without pushing the hands into the floor. So from here, lifting the hands, think of drawing your chin and your chest forward. Use the spinal extensors to lift yourself up, okay? So hands just hovering above the floor. You're going to lift. See how high you can come up. And then slowly draw yourself back down. Again, toes and quads pressing deep into the mat. We'll see if we can go for 6 all together. Inhale. Slowly release down as well. Another 4. 3. 2, inhale on the way up. 1 last one. Beautiful. Again, you can take a moment to rest here onto the forearms, just kind of shake the hips side to side. Beautiful. Now that we've activated the anterior chain and we've now activated the posterior chain, we'll see if we can get into our Cobra and then work in toward our upward facing dog. So how we're going to set ourselves up for this Cobra is I want you to lift in that same way. So one of the biggest kind of mistakes, and it's not really a mistake, it's better that you move or do yoga altogether here, but one of the bigger mistakes I see people do with their Cobra is they start to dump into their shoulders just like this. And they're not really in a back bend, but more just so in a position where you're putting a lot more pressure onto the shoulders. So if anything, we want to make sure that we're lifting from those same muscles. So how we're going to set ourselves up for our Cobra here is I want you to take the hands off just like we did earlier, and I want you to lift as high up as you can without the use of the hands. So even if it's something like this is as high as you can go, then the hands will drop, but I don't want you to put any more pressure. All this is doing is supporting that Cobra position. So if you end up here, just slowly drop the fingertips down, hold, use those spinal extensors to lift yourself up. Try not to dump into the shoulders and into the arms, okay? So we're gonna start over again. Lift the hands, come as high up as you can. Drop the hands down, and the heart goes through the biceps. Again, for most people, it's better that you bend the elbows. That way you're not dumping and straightening the arms. Keep the elbows slightly bent. Roll the shoulders down and back. Keep your gaze out in front of you. The glutes are engaged. Hamstrings are engaged. We'll find 5 deep breaths here into our Cobra. You can eventually kind of walk the hands a little bit closer. Crown of the head lifts up. Again, I see a lot of people kind of do this into their Cobra. Much better that we keep the crown, lift it up. Let's go 2 more breaths. And we'll slowly release down. Once again, take a moment onto the forearm, shake the hips out. Great, now that we focused on our Sphinx, our Cobra, let's see if we can drop into a upward facing dog. And we're gonna come into this upward facing dog a little bit differently so that we can really focus on the proper muscles to be activating in an upward facing dog. So again, a lot of people will come into their upward facing. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you enjoyed it that much, please hit subscribe. It means a lot. And if you're someone who's looking to take their practice to that next level, whether you're a beginner looking to simply improve their practice, or even an advanced practitioner looking to fine-tune their practice, head over to B Movement Academy, my own online school of yoga and movement, where you can find all of my premium content and exclusive programs that will meet you every step of the way to meet any of those movement or mindfulness goals. Most light and love. Namaste.